All right, everyone. So I'm not sure how many people did, but if you watched the WrestleMania XL documentary already, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you have watched it, watch the thing again. This thing was fantastic. But the major storyline that came out of it was what is the truth about what happened with the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns, whole thing, and The Rock, who was going to get the match. So the documentary goes into great detail on this. So we're going to read a bunch of quotes from Inside the Rope. So bear with us here while we're reading through these quotes. Just, we're going to do our best to present this story and then give our thoughts. So we're reading from Inside the Ropes Wrestling.com. In the opening moments of the documentary, Triple H noted that while the match between Rhodes and Reigns had been planned out for a year, the match between Reigns and The Rock had been planned out even longer. So we're going to read the quote. We had that story in that match, Rhodes versus Reigns, planned out, but there was another story, a blockbuster story we had been talking about for years. It was just a matter of finding the right opportunity in which to tell it, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Addressing the point where it appeared that Rock could factor into the biggest show of the year, Paul Levesque addressed the conversation he needed to have to have with Rhodes to prepare for an alternative plan. Levesque noted that on the day of the Royal Rumble, the chief content officer let Cody Rhodes know that there was a strong possibility that the story would not be finished in Philadelphia. Quote from Triple H: I sat with Cody and at the Royal Rumble in the afternoon and told him it was becoming more of a reality that the match with Roman and The Rock could take place at WrestleMania. I don't think anybody knew a thing outside of Cody, and I'm sure that was a brutal day, which was basically confirmed. Triple H also confirmed that at the point there was not a plan B for Rhodes should the match between Rock and Reigns go ahead. Obviously, his next question is where does that leave me? I'm like, I'm not sure yet, so that's on me to figure out because this is all happening in real time. At least how I saw it was we are going to see what the reaction is. Addressing the backlash from the fans, Rock stated in the documentary that he knew that even though he knew not all the fans were against the idea, things had to change. So this is a quote from The Rock. I called Nick, he's talking about Nick Khan, Triple H, and I called Ari Emanuel, and I said, here's how I'm feeling. We can truck through this, and we can put on this main event. The majority of the world, many of which don't watch WWE, who we do plan on pulling in the executing of our marketing plan, etc., are going to love the idea of The Rock and Roman, and we're going to tell this amazing story. Hopefully, this will be the first chapter of a few. We could do that. However, my gut says Ari, Nick, Triple H. My gut says I don't like this. Even if it's a segment of fans, I don't like that. They're upset, and that really bugged the shit out of me. And it's not how I've operated my entire career. I don't like it, and I knew essentially the choice was mine. It was either we truck through this and we make this main event, or we don't. I went through the ladder, and I told guys, here's what I think we should do. I believe we should go Roman versus Cody. Let Cody finish the story and take care of those fans because it's critical and important. Triple H also confirmed the pivot in how the change in plans was a collaborative effort. We pivot. The good thing is that everybody in the group of people, whether it's the writing teams here, whether it's The Rock, whether it's Roman, Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman, myself, Nick, everybody gets together, talks about it, and decides that the way we go, that's the way we go. We all agree on this. Now let's go, and we pivot in a way that blurs the lines of fiction and reality. So that's a lot, obviously, a lot of quote there. But what this seemingly does is put to rest any rumors that it was kind of a big scheme the whole time, meaning they were never going to do Rock versus Roman. It was always going to be Cody versus Roman, but it was just building up story. No, right? This was what was going to happen if the fans didn't open their mouth and make their voice heard. And, obviously, I think a lot of the narrative now, kind of, if you go on social media, is a lot about The Rock. People saying this is clearly, you got to remember, before this documentary came out, people were saying The Rock was holding it up. After the documentary airs, it seems like The Rock is really trying to put a paint a pretty good picture of himself in this whole thing, which he could be telling the 100% truth, but he's basically saying it was my idea, right? And I do think, obviously he wants that point out there because if he was still fighting against this, those fans may have a different view of him, right? And I think that's why this is happening. Not that it's really a huge deal, but when you're dealing with, millions of fans, you're going, not people are going to be upset about different things, right? And you can't always make anybody happy, but The Rock wants to make sure that he's viewed in a good light by them too. And it's just the amazing part of this documentary. It's not shocking. It's very clear. The amazing part of this documentary was how this WrestleMania could have gone so bad and it went so good. And it went so good here. And we brought this up in one of our future, one of our last videos, but we're going to bring it up again because I just think it's such an important point. Is this WrestleMania, I believe, is not only going to go down as great because of what we saw. I was watching this, while laying in bed, basically. I had my iPad, I was watching WrestleMania, and when Undertaker's music hit, okay, I jumped out. I mean, it was almost like something I couldn't control, right? It was just like a boom. You're so the excitement overtook. That's how crazy that thing was, right? That's truly how crazy it was. And even that was so great, but I think the true test of this WrestleMania is going to be what it builds on after. Like, I think when we look at WrestleMania 41 and we look at the path that WWE took from 40 to 41, I think we're going to look at that and go, oh my God, that WrestleMania looks even better now because 41 was so good. The big rivalry we're keeping our eyes on is, look, there is now a chance, because this whole thing is talking about, should it be Cody versus Roman or Rock versus Roman? There is now a chance where Rock versus Roman is going to be bigger than it would have ever been prior to WrestleMania 40 because there's a beautiful storyline here. There's a storyline of Roman beating Solo and then Rock coming back and fighting Roman Reigns. And basically, the point Rock could make is, okay, sure, you beat, the head of the bloodline. Sure, you took out Solo, right? Sure, you beat the bloodline and now you're back at the head of the table or whatever it is, right? Whatever they end up doing with him. But you lost to Cody. And you know who wouldn't have lost to Cody? Me. And then you start that feud again. And there's just so much they could build off. And it's crazy because all of that stuff could have been derailed had the fans not opened their mouth. Had The Rock and Roman Reigns been the match at WrestleMania 40, it would have been beautiful. It would have probably been a great match. There would have been excitement, but it would have been a dead end. It would have been a dead storyline. And Cody's story, his finishing of the story, would have taken place after that. It would have been basically, it might have been hyped, but it wouldn't have been the same. But this is what happens when you have people in charge that care. This is what happens when the fans are vocal about what they like. And this is just a sign of a well-run company that even when they're stepping in the wrong spots like they are right now, or like they had, they still find a way because they're they're looking in the right places. They have the right checks and balances on things now, right? To say this could be a disaster if we go this way. So if The Rock made the decision, kudos to him for saying let's stick with it. Because honestly, in the end, it's going to be Rock and Roman that's going to be this massive match, and it's all because of the fact that they didn't do it at 40 and they could do it at 41. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.